Someone decided to post a comment on my channel that's filled with, I'm seeing more efficient levels of Gish Gallop here. A set of statements that require several paragraphs normally to explain. I'm going to do it quickly. But let's get to the explanation and not waste your time. What is a quantum bank note? Quantum states stored in a quantum memory cell currently cannot work for any practical time period that would be useful for memorizing the somehow quantum state of a banknote or some other token to prevent someone from forging it. Now, this obviously could be referring to doing this over the internet or whatever, but the word quantum gets thrown in a lot, and I want to point out a couple of things. As of today's date, D-Wave and other examples of supposed quantum computers still have not brought up a simple demonstration of why they should be referred to as quantum computers, or if they have any usage of quantum mechanics in a way that is novel or specifically explainable. And it doesn't matter if you just do a hand wave about it. The fact is that quantum computers aren't showing that they can do anything they're supposed to be fantastically good at better or faster at all. More importantly, no quantum computers or quantum memories have been shown even to exist in a way that is confirmable beyond a couple of microseconds, and it's always based on trusting someone to provide an outcome, instead of just giving us an interface that would prove, for instance, quantum entanglement. Quantum entanglement, if you're not aware of it, in order to prove it works, you have to destroy the entanglement over a long distance. And supposedly this works at the speed of light or faster, and obviously, if you can observe something at each end, you could easily falsify it being in the same state. Sorry. And again, the quantum state can be anything from yes or no, or a grayscale of answers in 3 dimensions or more. So why is this proof not provided? And the answer is, well, it's experimental and it requires a scientific degree to even explain whether it's happened or not. And for a practical level, this doesn't exist and there should be no interest in the subject. But when someone brings up what you read in the title above the video, quantum financial system or quantum banking, is that what it's referring to? That's the closest approximation you'll find, not in mainstream media, although there is a Wikipedia article on it. This is the closest thing you'll find with even the right words in it. Because quantum financial system and quantum banking, you have to sit there and trudge through acres of bullshit, like I did with the D-Wave and the others, to find out that no, it isn't exploiting anything that involves quantum mechanics that does anything different than a standard computer, and more importantly, not any better, and in fact, worse or slower or with more errors. It has no practical value currently. And again, I can't even confirm, because no one will explain how we're supposed to even test their assertion, quantum memory works. But quantum banking or quantum financial systems, when you read an explanation and then remove all of the bullshit about it being about freedom for America and freeing us from our enslavement and you know, being able to make Donald Trump an emperor of the planet, you see shit like that. Once you get past all that crap, once you idiot filter it, it brings it down to a description of what quantum banking and quantum financial systems would be based on, and it's an exact duplicate of, in most cases, not all the pages, of something that's been around already and is currently used by every one of you since 1477 at least. Fractional reserve banking. It's the most common form of banking, commercial or otherwise, that's been practiced worldwide. It's not quantum financial systems or quantum banking. It's using the word quantum and sticking it on what you and I would just call banking and saying a bunch of bullshit and then describing what the banking system already does partially. Now, this is going to be a partial explanation because there's lots and lots of things in the financial system, but I'm going to give you a quick example. I'm going to set up a bank. Legally speaking, an individual or a group of people can set up an actual bank. It's not impossible. You don't want to call it a bank or a reserve bank at first, but you can set up a system or a group of businesses that do the following. You tell people, you can loan me your money and put it into a savings account, and I'll give you some interest for it because I'm going to use the money to invest in large companies or small businesses or just somebody needing a loan to fix their garage or whatever, and they will pay me an interest that's, let's say, 10%, and I'll pay you 5%. That means I get 5 and you get 5% on each and every one of these deals. But you got to leave the money in the account, because if I'm taking in your money and immediately loaning it to someone, the bank account is empty. Now, if a bunch of people save money at the bank and I only use a fraction of that money to do the loans and savings and whatever, and the rest is sitting in the account, that means if about half of you show up and say, I need all my money right now, it's an emergency, I'd be able to get away with doing that. If everybody showed up, however, I wouldn't be able to give them the money, because at least half or some fraction of the money is out in play being loaned to somebody who still owes me money. And they may be paying interest for 5 years or 35 years on a mortgage. That's how a savings and loan works. Now, this is not complicated. This is basic banking that apparently no one learns about anymore. Now, the statement you see, if you can find an explanation that even tells you what the fuck they're talking about a quantum financial system or a quantum banking, and then they throw a bunch of woo at you with a bunch of promises refusing to explain what the fuck they're talking about. If they give you the explanation, it is a description, almost perfect, for a fractional reserve banking system. Now, the rules about setting up a bank are pretty straightforward. If you want the U.S. government to back that money, because you're not going to have all the money in that individual bank. If you want those depositors to be insured, FDIC, in the United States, the U.S. government has to find out whether or not you're doing a fraction that's sensible. If you're only holding $10 out of $100 that you're supposed to have, that may not be good enough for them. If you're a reliable bank and have maintained it for a while, you can get FDIC insurance, or you may have to pay them. That means that the U.S. government requires that you pay them a small amount of money every year to prove that you're willing to put up or shut up, and make sure that those depositors don't lose money, because stock market crashes and the Depression happened, so the rules are made to where banks couldn't play fast and loose with your money. That's supposed to be what a bank bailout is about. It's because you, as a bank, can't give money to people, so they bail you out, and then you owe the government. And sometimes you can get away with that and not pay. Now, this is also based on preventing loan sharking from happening and fucking shit up. Got it? I know that took a long time, and it might have hurt someone's head. Hurts mine. But that's an extremely simplified version. I didn't bring up mutual funds or playing the stock market and other things that the banks do. Okay, financial institutions have to follow these rules because this is an easy way to get away with shit. Meanwhile, people claiming to be doing a quantum financial system or setting up quantum banking come up with long, drawn-out dog and pony stories about how they got permission from the Queen of England, which is not relevant, or that they contacted the United States Bureau of Weights and Measures about it, or they got confirmation through the Vatican. None of that has anything to do with the U.S. government. Now, if you want to, you can set up a banking system and use the Bank of England for it, I guess. Or maybe the Vatican would want to set up a special purpose banking system or something, I guess. The Weights and Measures, I don't even get where that came from. Somebody threw a bunch of shit into a story. Now, where does this come from? Conspiracy theorists bullshitting on the internet. And then they get you to send them money. Donations. Why do you need donations if you claim to have billions of dollars? Well, it's in trust. And then they bring up a complicated answer that doesn't go anywhere. And that really is the end of the video if you don't want to watch the rest of it. Only a fraction of bank deposits are backed by actual cash on hand and available for withdrawal. The rest are out being loaned to people. And that fraction is supposed to cover the maximum number of people who might come in and say, I need all my money out of the account. I had like $3,000 in an account once. I had to pull all the money. I had $5,000 in savings at one time. I had to pull all the money because of a disaster in my life, medical one, by the way. Bankers allocate money in more than one place at the same time, but it's the same money. Now, that is the basis for this fractional banking idea. A fraction of the money is available. Okay? And when you see a description, if they're being honest, which they never are, about what quantum banking is or quantum financial systems, it's the same description. It has nothing to do with quantum banknotes or quantum anything. Quantum is never used. Period. Full stop. I'm not making an exemption. There's no exemption or exception here. If someone uses the word quantum to describe what they're talking about, it's either exclusively dealing with theoretical physics and does not work currently in a practical way that you should pay attention to, or they're bullshitting you by using that word. Oh, this is a quantum tunneling water source. and it's extra pure and homeopathic. No, it isn't. It's just water out of a tap. They ran it through a filter so they wouldn't kill you, hopefully. By the way, quantum tunneling or tunnel diodes do exist. They exploit quantum tunneling. It's just a damn diode. It does something interesting. It demonstrates it every time it's used, millions of times a second maybe. But it is still just called a quantum tunneling effect because it really is. It's an example of that. Or we're just fooling ourselves. Quantum isn't special. Everything in the universe on a quantum level exists because quantum physics exists as an underpinning below the level of what you would call atomic physics or molecular physics. On the extremely tiny level, quantum mechanics is dominant. Okay, fine. That has nothing to do with a company setting itself up saying, give me money so you can loan it to us and then we'll lend it to somebody else, and then invoking the word quantum over and over again. Yes, independently, you, me, and a bunch of other people, or just one individual, could technically set up a bank as long as you follow the rules in your state, county, city, country. That has nothing to do with the Bank of England or some other bullshit meme on the internet. Next, the Bank of England was formed as the world's first central bank to institutionalize fractional reserve banking as a methodology in 1694, but this has been around since the 1400s. What is NESRA and GESRA? National Economic Security and Recovery Act is a story about a proposal that never got through Congress or was approved by the citizens elected representative government. Our government is a representative government elected by citizens. Even if we don't get what we want out of them, legally speaking, they're required to tell us what they do. NESRA, N-E-S-A-R-A, National Economic Security and Recovery Act, was a proposal by an individual who claimed that he could get rid of inflation and a bunch of magical thinking like that. It was never even brought before Congress. It was not approved by any of our elected officials, and it has never been given permission. No taxation without representation. No representative government approved these rules or these ideas. Period, full stop. It never got implemented. But it's a secret. The government passed it in secret, and you're in favor of that. Next, if it's a secret law or rule or set of rules, that means it cannot be defended in a court. If you get caught doing that, they can't make that happen. And the they I'm referring to isn't the U.S. government. It's people who want to tell you that they're above the government and above the law because they create these bullshit stories about things that never happened, and then tell you that you have to bow to their authority because they want you to worship authoritarianism. These are the same people who are now claiming it to have a new name, GESARA, Global Economic Security and Reformation Act, that's somehow done through the Vatican, the Bureau of Weights and and somehow Trump. What is it? It's exactly the same story, but they tell you it isn't, when it is. And then it's the same level of, we're going to explain a bunch of crap to you, but not give you an explanation. They're just going to tell you a long, drawn-out story. That's it. Next, here's the comment I got from a mid-50s British YouTuber who joined in 2006 and said things with bad spelling. But I want to point out the person said on one of their videos, here's a link to a WordPress site, but the URL has been blocked by Google because this British YouTuber in her mid-50s now failed to type it in correctly. Instead of it being Jesus is Satan 666.wordpress.com, this person put in .wordpress and then nothing else. When you type in .com, the page showed up as of last year or year before. At the time the person posted that comment that you couldn't possibly go there because Google was blocking it, it's because the individual, this British YouTuber now in her mid-50s, I think it's a girl, it could be a guy, it doesn't matter, refused to acknowledge that you just put a .com on the end and you can view it. No, it wasn't this person being clever, it was this person being incredibly stupid. And this is the comment. After all is said and done, it looks like your opinion has worn. Where does this leave your opinion? The quantum banking system is in place and soon to be up. Always soon. This has been going on for 10 years, or 8 years, or whatever, right? All the Vatican boxes ticked, and the Bureau of Weights and Measures boxes ticked. So the Vatican, the Bureau of Weights and Measures, Donald Trump, and something that was never passed by we the people or our representatives is suddenly put in because you say on some of the sites that you're able to trick someone into acknowledge you sent them a letter and nagged them until they said, okay, here's your official reply, no, we won't do that. Well, that's a confirmation. This is the person I have been commented to. So now you're more educated, I hope. Please read the links below. Thanks for watching. Good day. Good luck with that.